North Dakota has one of the least regulated late fee frameworks in the country, consistent with the state's overall minimalist approach to landlord-tenant regulation and strong property rights orientation. The governing law is found in North Dakota Century Code, Chapter 47-16, which covers landlord and tenant relations, along with general contract principles. If you're a landlord or tenant in North Dakota, the limited statutory framework means the lease agreement governs virtually everything about late fees. Let's start with the basics. North Dakota does not have a specific statute that caps late fees. There is no percentage limit, no dollar cap, and no statutory formula. The late fee amount is governed entirely by the lease terms and general contract principles. North Dakota also does not mandate a grace period. There is no state law requiring any specific number of days before a late fee can be charged. If your lease says rent is due on the 1st and a late fee applies on the 2nd, that's enforceable. However, most North Dakota landlords include a grace period of 3 to 5 days as standard practice. The key legal principle is reasonableness under North Dakota contract law. A late fee is a liquidated damages provision, and North Dakota courts will enforce it if the fee represents a reasonable pre-estimate of the landlord's anticipated damages, and the actual damages from late payment are difficult to calculate precisely. A fee that is grossly disproportionate to the landlord's actual costs, administrative time, bank fees, follow-up communication, the time value of money, can be struck down as an unenforceable penalty. What's reasonable in North Dakota? The state has a moderate rental market. Rents in Fargo typically range from $800 to $1,300. Bismarck is similar, and smaller communities are more affordable. A flat fee of $25 to $60 or a percentage-based fee of 5 to 10% of the monthly rent is generally defensible. A $50 fee on a $900 Fargo rent is about 5.5%, well within the reasonable range. A $200 fee on the same rent would likely be challenged. The lease must clearly state the late fee terms. The lease should specify the rent due date, any grace period, the exact fee amount or formula, when the fee triggers, whether additional charges apply for continued non-payment, and whether the fee is defined as additional rent. North Dakota courts expect written agreement. Oral understandings about late fees are difficult to enforce. Compounding late fees in North Dakota are governed by the lease and the reasonableness standard. A single one-time fee after the grace period is straightforward and defensible. A daily or weekly compounding structure must still produce a total that's reasonable. A compounding fee that could accumulate to 15 or 20% of the monthly rent within a few weeks would be increasingly vulnerable to challenge. Most North Dakota landlords keep it simple: one flat fee per late payment. The interaction between late fees and the eviction process in North Dakota is fast. The state allows just 3 days' notice for non-payment of rent before the landlord can begin eviction proceedings. This is one of the shortest notice periods in the country, meaning the late fee and eviction timelines overlap almost immediately when rent goes unpaid. Whether unpaid late fees can be included in the 3-day notice depends on how the lease defines them. If late fees are defined as additional rent, they can be included in the total amount demanded. If treated as a separate charge, the landlord may need to pursue the fees independently. Best practice: define late fees as additional rent. North Dakota requires landlords to return the security deposit within 30 days. The deposit must be held in a federally insured interest-bearing account. There is no statutory cap on the deposit amount. Unpaid late fees can be deducted from the deposit if the lease authorizes it and the fees are reasonable. The landlord must provide an itemized statement. Failure to do so within 30 days can result in forfeiture of the right to retain any portion. For tenants receiving Housing Choice Voucher assistance, North Dakota landlords should not charge late fees when the housing authority's portion is delayed due to processing. The tenant cannot control the authority's payment schedule. If the tenant's portion is paid on time, the fee should apply only when the tenant's own payment is actually late. North Dakota's military population is centered around Grand Forks Air Force Base and Minot Air Force Base, both significant installations that generate regular rental demand. Military pay is predictable, the 1st and 15th, and most military tenants pay reliably. Grand Forks AFB houses unmanned aerial vehicle operations with a mix of military and civilian personnel. Minot AFB, home to both bomber and missile wings, has a larger military population with regular rotation cycles. When military tenants pay late, it's typically related to PCS transitions that resolve within a few days. The standard 3 to 5 day grace period accommodates most of these short delays. The Bakken oil region in western North Dakota creates unique late fee dynamics. The boom and bust cycle of oil and gas drilling produces dramatic fluctuations in both rental demand and tenant payment reliability. During boom periods, when oil prices are high and drilling is active, energy workers flood into Williston, Watford City, Dickinson, and surrounding communities. Workers are employed, incomes are strong, and late payment is uncommon. Some landlords in the Bakken charge premium rents during boom periods, and the late fee amounts should be calibrated to whatever rent level the market is supporting. During bust periods, when oil prices drop and drilling slows, workers lose hours or jobs, and late payments increase. Landlords in the Bakken during downturns face a difficult choice: enforce late fees aggressively against workers who've lost income and risk vacancy, or work with tenants through the downturn and maintain occupancy. The practical reality is that in a softening market, losing a tenant over a late fee costs more than the fee is worth. Landlords in the Bakken should structure their late fee provisions to work across the boom-bust cycle. A percentage-based fee automatically scales with the rent level, which may fluctuate with market conditions. A flat fee remains constant regardless of rent changes. From a practical standpoint, North Dakota's rental market is small and concentrated. Fargo is the state's largest and most stable market. The economy is driven by healthcare, education, North Dakota State University, technology, agriculture services, and manufacturing. Fargo landlords typically charge flat fees of $35 to $60 with a 5-day grace period. Late payment rates are moderate. Fargo's diversified economy produces a stable tenant base. The Fargo-Moorhead Metro straddles the North Dakota-Minnesota border. Properties on the Minnesota side are subject to Minnesota's significantly more restrictive landlord-tenant laws, including different late fee standards. Landlords operating on both sides need different late fee provisions for each state. Bismarck, the state capital, has a stable market driven by state government, healthcare, and energy industry administration. Government employees generally pay reliably. Late fee enforcement is routine, but not a dominant operational concern. Grand Forks, home to UND and Grand Forks AFB, has a market influenced by both the university and the military. Student late payments correlate with financial aid disbursement. Military late payments are uncommon and resolve quickly. Minot, home to Minot AFB, has a heavily military-influenced market. BAH rates drive pricing, and military tenants generally pay reliably. Late fee enforcement is minimal for the military demographic. Williston, Watford City, and Dickinson in the Bakken region have markets that fluctuate with energy prices, as discussed above. Late fee enforcement in these communities requires flexibility and awareness of economic conditions. One best practice for North Dakota landlords: because the state has essentially no statutory framework for late fees, your lease is your primary document. Include a detailed provision that covers every element: due date, grace period, fee amount, trigger date, compounding rules if any, and whether the fee is defined as additional rent. In a state where the statute provides no guidance, your lease fills every gap. Another best practice: calibrate your fee to the local market. In Fargo, where rents range from $800 to $1,300, a fee of $40 to $70 is the sweet spot. In Minot, where BAH drives pricing, align the fee with what military tenants expect, typically a flat fee in a similar range. In the Bakken, where rents fluctuate, a percentage-based fee adjusts automatically. A third best practice, apply your late fee consistently across all tenants and document every instance. North Dakota's diverse tenant population, military, students, energy workers, government employees, spans every demographic. Consistent enforcement prevents fair housing issues. Keep records of every late payment, every fee, and every communication. Your documentation is your defense in any dispute. For the complete guide to North Dakota late fee laws, visit tenantscreeningbackgroundcheck.com. Subscribe to our channel for every state in our late fee law series.